Hello, viewers. This is Dr. Athar Mansoor from Tracks. So today we are again joined by Haider Ali. Haider Ali is in Toronto, Canada, and if you remember and recall, he did a video with us on his educational experience and post-study experience in Canada. He's working in Canada. So Heather, quickly introduce where are you working right now?
I'm working for the Health Ministry of Canada in Toronto.
Right. So it's a kind of a public sector job, right?
Public service job. Yeah, I work for the government, federal government.
And I heard we were talking informally when you were telling me about this that it's about something about related to innovation in public sector health public sector systems, right?
Yeah, this my area is focused more towards research in health. So that includes innovation and other areas of research as well.
Great,
Um,
great. So Heather, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us for this extremely important video, which is about the post-Trump relationship between Canada and US. So Canada and US have been traditionally, unlike other neighbors of the world like Pakistan and India, North Korea and South Korea, and maybe many European nations during the 17th and 18th century have remained quite friendly. Even the country code for Canada and US is similar, +1, right? Which shows and depicts that the relationship between the two countries has never been hostile in terms of any military standoff, in terms of any political kind of flexing muscles against each other. And it has been quite, and I hope you're going to share statistics with the viewers as well in terms of people moving across the borders and the trade happening between the two countries. Anyways, so this post-Trump era and the second Trump 2.0, which people are calling, has brought in some surprises for everyone. And Mr. Trump, has been heard saying, uh, that he wants Canada to become the 51st state of the U.S., and that's what he would like to, request or maybe ask Canadians to consider, which is kind of quite strange and weird in terms of, because every country has its external and internal sovereignty, and Canada has been enjoying that sovereignty for a very long period of time. And as I've discussed, there is no hostility. So, what do you think is, to start with, my first question is, can you give the viewers some background of Canada-US relationship?
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you for inviting me again on your platform. It's a pleasure to always be here. And congratulations on crossing 60,000 subscribers. This is a big achievement, and I really want
Thank
to
you
thank
very much. We have crossed 61,000 as of
you.
today.
61,000. Nice.
Counting.
More congratulations.
Thank you very much.
In
Thank
an
you.
era
Right.
where YouTube is criticized for their lowbrow videos, you've uploaded quality 650 content, 650 videos, which is very informative. And I really want to thank you for doing this for our community.
Thank you very much. Right.
Coming, and there's no better day to talk about Canada and US sort of hostility because they are playing the finals of Four Nations hockey tournament. And even today, Trump tweeted, if you've not seen, that Canada should become the 51st state. So
Oh, wow. So today he also tweeted this.
even today, yes, and they're playing a hockey final, and everybody is hostile would be a little too strong, but definitely elements of hostility are there in the air. So coming on to the background or context of the U.S.-Canada relationship, I will go back to the 1961 Parliament Hill, Ottawa, House of Commons of Canada. JFK is visiting, and JFK addresses the Parliament and says that geography has made us neighbors, history has made us friends, economics has made us partners, and necessity has made us allies. This quotation by JFK encapsulates the comprehensive and intertwined relationship between US and Canada. Just to lay context, it's the world's longest border that they share, and it's not only the longest border, but it's also the longest undefended border. Um, People cross here and there. It's spanning over 5,500 miles. 400,000 people cross this border every single day.
100,000.
400,000 people cross this border every single day. and over $2.7 billion worth of goods and services is exchanged between these two countries daily. That's the level of partnership between these two countries. If I steal a quotation from Jinnah as well, in a relation, I think Jinnah also gave the example of US and Canada's relationship as the ideal sort of relationship that he envisioned between Pakistan and India.
Right.
This relationship is the symbol of economic liberalism, but things are changing now.
Right, right. So I think very aptly pointed out that this relationship has been a symbol of economic liberalism, and things have been changing very rapidly and in a very surprising manner. Anyways, coming to the current scenario. So, what is, as of today, you have talked about the tweet also, but what is happening between the two countries as of now? In terms of this economic, as you have talked that this economic liberalism is decaying. So some current scenario.
Right. So it's important to understand what's happening now. November 5th, we all know, November 5th, 2024, Mr. Donald John Trump, the 45th president, is elected again as the 47th president. First week of December, as per the tradition, Donald John Trump hosts a dinner at Mar-a-Lago and invites different folks from different parts of the world. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is also there, sitting on the same table as President Trump. But President Trump refers to him as Governor Trudeau. Just to put in context, imagine Vajpayee in Lahore sitting.
Says Chief Minister Shehbaz Sharif.
Vajpayee and Musharraf in Pearl Continental, and Vajpayee refers to Musharraf as Musharraf.
Yeah. Or maybe, Vajpayee, rebirth of Vajpayee, and he says Chief Minister Sahab to Mr. Shehbaz Sharif. Or Mr. Modi says, Chief Minister Sahab, how are you?
Yeah, with that's the level of sort of diplomatic slander, if I may, that was done there. Now, what's happening now? So, entering 2025, Donald John Trump, for whatever reasons, decides to slap 25% tariffs on Canadian products and services. Now, to put in context, what does that mean?
So this was a flat across all kinds of products and services, right? This was the announcement.
It was flat on all products except energy. On energy, Trump put 10% tariff. Because American economy depends a lot on Canadian air. So he was being a little selfish there. Not too much tariffs there, but everything else, including the automotive industry, flat 25% tariffs on everything. Now, what does that mean? Just for someone who's not an economic student, a country earns their income by selling their goods and services, if put simply. And these goods, if a tariff is imposed on these goods and services, and especially if it's as high as 25%, these goods and services become more expensive, meaning thereby that Canadian products will not be bought as much as they were by American consumers. As a result of which, Canadian economy will suffer really bad. And that's, in my words, I call it economic bullying. The US is using their economic leverage to bully Canada towards a certain goal. Now, what are the reasons that US or the Trump administration is giving for this tariffs? There has to be some reasons, and there are three reasons primarily. Two reasons can be found in the official press release, and there's a third reason that I think is a main driver behind the disguise of these above two reasons. So what are these two reasons why Trump imposes this 25% tariff? We can look at the February 3rd press release that the Embassy of the US in Ottawa releases. In that press release, the American administration states, and I quote, they give the exact reason, and I quote, the extraordinary threat posed by illegal aliens and drugs, including deadly fentanyl, constitutes a national emergency. So there are two reasons that are primarily given in this press release that here's why we impose the tariffs. A, that you're sending a lot of illegal aliens, which by the way is refugees or illegal refugees, and you're sending in a lot of drugs. Um, so these are the two official reasons, and I also want to bring in a point here as to the issue of immigration has been a political sort of um, epicenter of many electoral waves across Europe. A lot of people, leaders in Europe recently won their elections on the issue of immigration. Anti-immigration rhetoric has been sold and has been selling it across North America now as well. So refugees make sense. Why fentanyl out of nowhere? Why is President Trump so concerned about fentanyl? Over 75,000 people die of fentanyl consumption every year in the US. That's also not a small number. And also, just by the way, Trump's brother, his own blood brother, Fred Trump, also in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, passed away by alcohol consumption. That's what the official reason was. We never know why Fred Trump died, but this issue of drug abuse or alcohol abuse is close to Trump's heart. So these are the two reasons: illegal aliens and fentanyl. That why US imposes this sort of level of tariffs. There's a third reason, and the third reason is economics. the The trade between US and Canada is, one could argue, and if you're an American, you could argue that is tilted favoring Canada. And Americans call it, or Trump supporters call it, the American subsidy. That America gives economic subsidy to Canada. They don't really give subsidy, but what they really mean is that we are buying a lot of your products, but you're not buying our products. $350 billion just of automotive parts, of manufacturing parts, are bought by the US economy of Canada. So in 2023 there was the highest trade imbalance in the world was recorded between US and Canada, that of $1 trillion. So if we look back in Trump's electoral race, and especially prior to 2017, I remember Trump's speeches. In one of his speeches, he said, um, from this day forward, it's going to be only America first, America first. And he said, we will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American. So this means that he wants to sort of shift the manufacturing from Canada to back to the US. And that's what he's trying to do with China as well. And they're trying to impose taxes on China as well, and Mexico. So that's the third sort of main reason to sort of push impose tariffs on Canada, so that push them away and pull the manufacturing back into the country.
Right, right. Heather, thank you very much for throwing such an elaborate kind of light on this and shedding light on this. Anyways, I have heard that the tariffs have been paused right now, right?
Correct.
But still, you never know. Given Trump's uncertainty and the way he comes up with strange kind of things, and this is his right. He's the elected president, so he can take anything. He can take any decision or announce any policy which he thinks is in the interest of his own country, or maybe overall the region. What do you think is going to be the impact of these tariffs if they are unpaused, or he removes the pause on Canada and the world in general?
Yeah. So there's something that
And also on the US, son. And also on the US, what is going to be?
Of course. So there's a quotation that sort of I remember from my IR class back in college, that if America sneezes, the world catches the cold. The American economy is so intertwined with the world, Canada, that there's going to be huge impact. So what will be the impact? First, let's look at the impact on the Canadian economy. So Canadian economy is dependent a lot on its exports of goods and services to the US. So definitely, we will see that if the goods become expensive, the exports will further decline, and we will see a further sort of wave of recession in the Canadian economy. Unemployment will rise. We'll also have loss of politically, we'll see that people will increase their anger towards the current government. By the way, there's election happening in Canada later this year, so we'll see this sort of directly impacting that election as well. And more importantly, one thing that's being missed is that culturally, socially, the Canadian mindset that once sort of was so intertwined with the Americans has sort of changed. We see a surge in Canadian pride. People are not liking America as much, and that's a big problem. Aside from the statistical, economic, political, social impacts, just the fact that people-to-people contact, which was 400,000 people crossing every day, will definitely see that decline and will have a long-lasting impact. Coming on the US. Now, the US economy on short term will suffer. How will it suffer? US economy is US economy is dependent a lot on its automotive industry. One of the bigger industries is the automotive industry, and automotive industry imports a lot of its sort of raw materials, if I may, from Canada. So if the raw materials are coming more expensive, their final goods and services will be even more expensive. That's one. Secondly, even though they've not imposed as much taxes on energy, but if sort of Canada, if energy becomes more expensive, the US doesn't really have a lot of alternatives than Canada for its energy. Russia and US are not at the best at the moment. Venezuela, their second partner for energy, is also not the most liked ally of US. US always relied on Canada for their energy. So if the relationship between the two countries sort of deteriorate, they will not have what Trudeau calls reliable energy. And that is the backbone of American economy. Losing an ally losing a reliable ally like that of Canada will be a major diplomatic blow for the US. Globally, what is the impact of this sort of relationship? Now, it's interesting because now there's sort of hearsay, if I call it, amongst the in the public sector, especially, that why are we members of NATO? Why are we part of this free trade agreement with the US? We should submit application for EU. The Europeans are nicer. There's hearsay that I hear like that we should submit our application to the European Union. And there is a major sort of proposition that Canada will shift towards Europe. And if I steal 30 more seconds on it, it benefits the both parties, a European Union and Canada. Canada has a lot of land, which Europe needs, and Europe has a lot of population that Canada needs for both the economies to sort of intertwine. So we can in future see globally Canada sort of shift their sort of basket, if I may, from across the Atlantic towards UK, and it's also part of the Commonwealth and Europe. Globally, that's what we see, and globally, global order also sort of, if we go on a broader picture, global order we sort of see changing, where we sort of we earlier in the 21st century, so after the end of World War, and the birth of UN, we saw a lot of economic liberalism where economy sort of shaded a lot. There was globalization. But now I see there's a global sort of trend towards protectionism, isolation, and something that China would do, something that North Korea would do, something that Russia would do. And the champion of sort of economic liberalism has out of nowhere realized that maybe this is not the way to go. This is not helpful. So economic liberalism will shrink, globalization will definitely shrink, and we can see the world sort of move towards more isolation or multilateralism, different regions doing trades amongst their regions. That's where I see the world moving ahead.
Right, right. In fact, I wanted to ask this as last question, but you have answered it that this might hit the concept of economic liberalism, and the champion of economic liberalism has itself taken this decision of taking the world towards something where the new multilateral alliances would emerge and economic liberalism might shrink. Anyways, Heather, thank you so much for throwing light on this very important topic, and viewers must be interested in this because, again, to reiterate and re-emphasize that when I started the video, I pointed out that Canada and US have traditionally been perceived as very friendly neighbors, and you have, through statistical evidence, also shown how much trade takes place, how much people move from one country to another country per day. and how these countries have behaved in the past in terms of their relationship, in terms of their alliance, in terms of exchange of people, goods, services, cultural affinity, and things like that. Despite the fact that Canada's many provinces are French-speaking provinces, right? Am I correct? But still,
Yeah.
that common language, common communication, the tool of communication, which is language, is English, and people have been very comfortable. Heather, thank you so much. I'll catch you up in some other important video as well very soon. And thank you for appreciating the growth
Thank
of
you.
our channel. And I hope you have also subscribed to it. Viewers, thank you. You have.
I'm a regular viewer and have
Right.
clicked the bell icon as well.
Thank you very much. So, viewers, thank you so much. Please subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more Joint Tracks.